months, we've had the opportunity to discuss a project that a year and a half ago, I grabbed the whole to like a badger. And the whole idea originally was an indoor sports complex. And actually, Robert, you and I shook hands over that deal, to make a long story short, with property. And, you know, since then it's grown into a bigger, more vast project that I'm real happy about. You know, it's indoor sports complex, it's outdoor sports complex. Since that time, hotels from entrepreneurs and investors have been brought up, and not just one hotel, 4 or 5. I mean, it's grown to where it was just a little single engine airplane now to where it's an F-16. Sometimes I feel like it is flying out of control. But what I want to do is be sure that everybody that's taken time and invested in the community financially over the last couple of months, there's been a lot of contributions given to see this project become a reality. And I just want to be sure that everybody that's invested in this, the IDA members that are here, also Ms. Mayer's here, glad to see that. The mayor has got his priorities straight tonight, I can tell you that. And Chris Brown also, their kids are playing their last soccer game, so their priorities are straight. But I just want to be sure that everybody is on the same page when it comes to what the money is going to be used for. And if there's any misconception, our treasurer's here, and when this is over with, you may say, I want the money back and going out the door. And that's good. Ultimately, my shirt's not ready to paint, but there's a bullseye right here in the end. So, and I realize that, and my communication with all those investors have been slim to none. So there was a fundraiser, a campaign that went on, a lot of communication took place, and to be honest, I'm not sure what all that was. But before I spend your money, at least I can say to cancel and the IDA, they all knew. And we communicated it to the best of our ability. So I've got a lot I want to go over. I'm going to try to cut it down from a 3-hour presentation down to about an hour. In the first 30 minutes, starting at about 20 minutes till, quarter to till, we're actually going to have the PHAST group on the screen. I don't know what technology that is, whether it's Skype but they're actually, I believe, standing by waiting now, and they're really excited to introduce themselves. There's a couple of them that are missing because of other commitments. The individual that I've been communicating with for the last month and a half has came down with an allergy or a sinus, and he sounds like Darth Vader now talking, so it's kind of hard to listen to him and understand him, but I want y'all to know firsthand. I won't cancel to know firsthand, not from me, but from the individuals that we are potentially getting ready to go to work with for the next several years, if we go that route. I've got the contract here, but just raise your hand if you've ever seen the PHAST contract and how it reads. Raise your hand. All right, see, kind of knew that. So the purpose of this meeting is good. It's going to accomplish what I need anyway. That's a comfort zone to know that each of you are aware of what the contributions are going for. So the organization, just to give you a little bit of an idea, they oversee. They oversee. So I don't know how to give an example of that, but they manage facilities. So we like before, one of the facilities that they are beginning to manage is in Morristown, Tennessee. And then they have a big sports complex there, indoor and outdoor. Well, this year they just started managing the concession stand up. So they have no experience in Morristown with managing the sports side of it. They don't bring capital to the table. They're not bringing money to the table, but they will do the same thing that we can do, which is find money to build it. They're not going to back a bond. We're going to have to bond it. They're not going to bond it. So if the facility costs $10 million, they may help us find $5 billion worth of bonding from banks outside the Commonwealth that are willing to invest in the town. But we still have to make that debt service payment. So we're going to go over the budget a little bit after the presentation. We're going to talk about reality in our finances. I'm going to show you real numbers. And then we can talk about how each of you would like to encourage cancel and the IDA members to proceed after that. So we'll take about a 5-minute break, and hopefully they might be ready now. I see a lot of faces.
Are you seeing faces? Then they're ready.
Any of you have any questions before we get started?
You said that's outside of Commonwealth. Why would you go outside of the state if you do it?
They'll find it. They'll find it anywhere. They'll find you.
You said outside the Commonwealth.
They will. They'll find it anywhere. They'll find you bonding abilities anywhere. So. When they're talking, well, they're going to be here.
No, they're going to be on the screen, but we'll communicate to the phone.
Oh, okay.
That way we don't get the reverb, and they can hear everybody.
But they can't see us. Oh, I got you. I emailed it. But I'm just stone the word for that thing. You know who's going to take it? That's what we were saying. Of course there will be. That's what's going to happen. They're going to be yeah, we're filming. They're going to be doing it. I know. You know they can't see. I've seen the cameras. We'll just be able to see them.
My name Rob. This is Sean from town. We're catching some. We're about to get live here in just a minute.
It's that's how our teacher class goes today.
We good?
We're good. All you gotta do is just let Rob know when you're ready.
Hey, Rob, can you hear me?
I can, yes.
Okay. I'm just gonna give you a little bit of a night. You can't see me, can you, Rob? So we can do about anything, get away with it, right?
That's it. You're exactly right.
Okay, just to let you know who is in the room here, we've got some investors from the community, some business owners here in the room. We've got some elected officials. obviously from the town council. We also have some appointed IDA members, planning commission members, interested individuals in the community, a video camera. So I think I kind of covered it all right there. So welcome unofficially, I guess, to the town of Tazewell. And I know that you're a little under the weather, and I'm going to just be quiet and let you have the next 30 minutes or so to talk about the town of Tazewell and what your plans are.
Well, I appreciate it, and I would certainly much rather be there in person, but I do appreciate the opportunity, and I do apologize for my voice. I'll do the best I can with it. I would like to take the opportunity to introduce our company and our team members and what we do, what our vision is, and I'll share a presentation, really just some high points from that, and then we'll be available to answer any questions. Michael Green is on the phone with us. He wasn't able to join my video conference, so you're stuck just looking at me, I guess. So I'll share a screen and get off of your screen here shortly. That'll be helpful to everybody. But to introduce our team members, and I'll come back to Michael last. But myself, my name is Rob Williams. I'll be the CEO of our company, and my background is with a lot of management in construction and healthcare management, also in hospitality and tourism management. And I won't bore you with all the specifics. I can see on my screen, but I really just won't give you all those years of management. But David Gill is the COO of our company. He has extensive college coaching as well as playing football experience, and he is currently the head high school football coach for Anderson County High School, which is just north of Knoxville, if you're not familiar with the area. A lot of experience with tournaments, SAQ training and camps for athletes of all sports, not just football, and then a lot of 7-on-7 camps that he puts on in the off season. Ben Downs is our baseball and softball administrator. He has college baseball playing experience and head high school coaching experience, and he has currently moved into administration, and he's a principal of Anderson County High School here, and just stepped away from high school coaching over the last year. Steve Williams is one of our partners. He has extensive years in healthcare administration, both with continuing care communities, such as assisted living and independent living communities, as well as home health care management and clinic administration. Ed Souther is our accountant. He's a member of both Tennessee and national CPA associations. Now I'll come back to Michael, who's on the phone with us today. Michael Green has extensive experience and relationships in the travel, sports, travel, and tourism industry, and so I'd like to ask him here shortly to share some real-world, real-number current statistics and benefits of these type of communities, both for the participants as well as the complimentary games for the communities and the businesses as well. Just quickly to tell you a little bit about us and how this started a number of years ago with our group. The initial vision was, and remains, as it should, for the
Yeah, we got you, brother, that's good.
Okay, good. So I will go through and read the presentation, and obviously this will be available to anybody else. Mr. Day, I'll make sure that you got this in an email copy if you'd like to distribute this. So a little bit about, what I just said as far as us, our executive team, and who actually prepared this report. But you'll also be able to see some of the statistics that I referenced as far as the spending. These are sourced national averages for the number of participants and visitors for each tournament, and it's broken down. What were some specifics on actual cities that have done events like this? So being able to see some statistics there. But then the main thing I wanted to show you was at the bottom here, and you get an idea of the expenditures, and this will show you what is seen on a national average for the economic benefits, depending on what tournaments, what size tournaments that you actually host, and for which sport that they are, according to the facilities that you offer there. There's a number of different ways to do it, and we're participating in, there's 3 different ways currently, as far as how to get these projects going and started. If I could, give my voice a rest as well, but my hope is if you would please, would you care to share sort of the real numbers and real benefits from the communities that you work with in these? Sure. Can everybody hear me all right?
Yeah, we can hear you just fine. This is good stuff.
Okay, great. So thanks for allowing me to take a few minutes of your time. So I've been in the youth sports space for a very long time as a coach, and it was many years ago, I helped in the redevelopment of a park for a youth baseball league or program that I started. I started one of the first travel baseball programs in the country in the Atlanta area.
I appreciate it, and I know I've got a number of questions, and there might be some from the audience out here too. But just to start some questions off, and you correct me if I'm wrong, you've got a very diverse team. You've put together what it sounds like a team that can cover the full spectrum of athletics, whether it's indoor or outdoor, and that goes from an engineer, accountant. You've got people that know the game, know the management, know the skills to make it happen. Is that correct?
That is absolutely correct, yes.
Okay, so
And I was going to say just as far as the sports and the facility side, so I've been involved directly, not just with baseball, softball, but all the outdoor sports, soccer, lacrosse, ultimate frisbee, satin football, but as well as the indoor sports. So the indoor building that I'm not an architect or an engineer, but I did take the lead on the design of layouts of the building. We did a lake point, which even though I'm not there any longer, I left there about 15 months ago, it is still, without question at all, the most successful indoor facility in the youth sports world. And one of the reasons it is because we did our homework and made sure that we built a totally functional space, not just for basketball, volleyball, but for cheerleading and dance, for wrestling, for pretty much anything that you can do indoors. So, but yes, we have a great team with a lot of varied skills up to that ranks.
okay, but your team, y'all won't come into a location, do a feasibility study, and actually build a facility with your own capital and own it and operate it. Is that correct?
That's correct. There's a number of different partnerships that we can actually do, and a few different styles of those. But it's more of a public-private partnership in some capacity where these are seen to be more successful.
Okay, the Lake Point project that y'all have a part of, are you still involved with that entity? Do you still manage and operate that complex?
No, this is Michael. I left Lake Point about 14, 15 months ago. Lake Point was built privately, although there were lots of incentives from the city, the county, the state, some tax abatements, etc. It was built with private dollars. Unfortunately, at Lake Point, they never sufficiently had the capital to do it and to
Okay, give me an example. Town of Tazewell's got a population of 4,300. Small locality. We're 15 miles east and west, approximately 15 miles of other political jurisdictions. There's 5 incorporated jurisdictions within Tazewell County. We're 1 of 5. We're the 3rd largest, with Richlands being the largest, Bluefield 2nd largest, and Tazewell the 3rd largest. When it comes to close proximities of what I call metropolitans, Abingdon area is a really growing area. You're very familiar with that. You go the other direction, Christiansburg, Roanoke, Blacksburg. But for an area like Tazewell, when you're using the words public-private partnership, I'm very familiar with that logic, but how do you see utilizing that principle in the town of Tazewell?
Bob, do you want to respond to that? Well, first off, a lot of that you answer with your feasibility study and your cost analysis that would take into account everything you just mentioned, where you are geographically, what the populations are, and then the study would incorporate not the population of the community, but the population of the facility for what number of weeks. Then it would basically back into what's needed in order to accomplish what you want, or where's that balance with housing opportunities, which determines basically your radius that you're going to attract participants for the weekend. Because when you get to where they're going to travel 2 hours, then they're going to have lodging, and so you can work to find those numbers. As far as the participation goes, you land on some sort of, and there are a lot of different ones, some sort of public-private partnership based on what amount of time is designated for the community, for the facilities, what amount of time is designated for a weekend and tournament and summer long-term tournaments, and what are the housing needs for that, and then what are the opportunities to entertain folks at those campuses. So it's a mixture. It can be a mixture or a hybrid of public-private partnership based on what you're trying to accomplish in the facility.
Okay, so, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I apologize. There's lots of different scenarios going on around the country. There is a project in the southeast that is going to be built here in the next year. That's a very large indoor facility, and the city has taken 1.5 cents and added it to the hotel motel tax, and that's how they're going to fund the building of that building. And now they are in the process of
He has several questions that I can't answer.
So the FAST group is covering this feasibility study, correct?
That is not correct.
All right, so what do they need it for?
That's a good question.
Because I'm like, what do they
Okay,
need?
so we had a question from the audience. An individual asked about the feasibility study. It's our understanding the town of Tazewell is going to pay $20,000 for our share of a feasibility study. The FAST group, and correct me if I'm wrong here, is going to pay $7,000 of that $20,000 to do that economic development feasibility study. Is that correct?
Do you have the numbers on it? Yes, I believe that is correct.
Okay. So, what they're, I'm gonna answer your question, well, they can hear. It's 27,000 total if they do that study, yeah. Now, if we do the study, they will not contribute that $7,000. So if we go outside the box, which in my opinion is unbiased. So let's take the FAST group. And Rob, we're just kind of chatting here, and you can hear it all, which is good. But the FAST group is going to do a study. The political perception of the FAST group doing that study for a project that they want can be a little bit skewed. So my interest was to look and have another entity that's recognized more in Richmond, where funding is going to be heavily sought after in other funding agencies, which is a Chimera group. So that group is a very reputable, Rick can tell you, a very reputable firm in the Commonwealth, does studies for a lot of localities. So, but again, the FAST group has, put it in writing, has been very transparent that if we don't use their firm to have that feasibility study done, that $7,000 contribution toward that feasibility study will not be available. I don't know if that answers your question yet, but. And again, Rob, I'm running, you chime in anytime that I'm out in left field, but what okay, so what the FAST group will ultimately do is they will help us find funding, they'll work with us to find funding, and if the feasibility study comes back to their acceptability, they will then help us find the funding. I had to get that in order, but they would also contractually, the contract I've got, would make the debt service payment back to the town who is floating the bond. So we would build it, we would pay them to manage it, build it, design it, help us, we do the whole 9 yards, and they would make the debt service payment back to the town. And we're all on a hope and a prayer. Okay, so, and you're talking not 10 million. You're talking $30 million project that they're proposing in this con, and we'll talk about it later some more. So it's a big project. It's nothing real small about it, but it's real exciting.
What if this study is not to their liking and maybe don't feel like they should be involved?
Well, I had a question, Rob. He asked, what if the study is not to your liking and you decide that you don't want to be involved? I guess you just kind of pull out and we don't date anymore. Is that correct?
Well, the short answer is yes. However, there's like I said earlier, there are a lot of different opportunities in there. If it's something that, just to be quick and blunt, but if it's something that then obviously doesn't stop you from doing it. It doesn't even stop us if you like this and you like what we do in other facilities. It doesn't even stop us from managing it and meeting whatever expectations and parameters that you set for us. That we could look at and how. Doesn't really stop any of those things. The only thing it stops is just like with anybody, that you wouldn't want to be financially obligated to something that didn't, especially something with that price tag on it, something that didn't suit the needs or the expectations that you had for it.
Sure. Okay, so again, I want to make it clear to everybody that's here, the feasibility study that individuals contributed to have done, that feasibility study is going to show the town, the taxpayers, the engineering firms all around, the PHAST group, that this is a good project for the town of Tazewell. And it's all based around population and geographical location. It is what it is. A feasibility study, that's what it's based on. Population inside a geographical location. So the feasibility study may come back and say it's not a good idea. It's not going to work. Well, we now know that as a locality, and you're not going to get your money back.
It's like a smaller version.
Yeah, and we can do a smaller version. There's a lot of ways that we can spend that. What I'm trying to do here is clear up any questions with the PHAST group, and then we're going to continue on. But again, the PHAST group is a full-blown management team. Okay, they will start. They'll walk with you from today till the day the doors open or the gates open on an outdoor whatever. They'll walk with you from start to finish, and then when it's finished, you can walk away and they'll manage it. They'll bring people in, they'll hold tournaments, they'll hold competitions. You'll have to call Richlands for parking. And that's real. There ain't enough parking around here for.
Well, I want to mention one other thing that's not out of school here. They mentioned the private-public partnership. We're very familiar with that process. It's a very good process to undertake and look at. However, one of the things, one hurdle we may have to deal with is, of course, I know Todd Day. He's going to want to get every grant dollar out there that's available to where he don't have to borrow the money. You're going to have to borrow some. Some of these grant agencies that we deal with don't recognize private-public partnerships. So we'll have to deal with some of that and looking at that. So I just want everybody in here to understand, to get their maybe $1 million grant, you may have to look at a different approach.
That's correct.
So.
Does anybody, I know,
Have you all done any projects in a municipality of our size? I mean, you mentioned Knoxville, you mentioned Memphis, you even mentioned right out a small community outside of Atlanta. We're not close to Atlanta. And you mentioned Rocky Mount, North Carolina, which is probably 40,000+ with a lot of bigger areas around it. Have you done anything like this in something comparable to where we live?
What is the smallest location? Locality? What is the smallest populated locality?
Yeah, the closest that I have been personally involved with is in Rock Hill, South Carolina, and the population of Rock Hill is it's 173,000.
Yeah, Charlotte's right next door.
Yeah.
It's pretty close, yeah.
okay, so that answers your question. Does anybody else have any questions you'd like to ask before we let him cancel any questions? Any more questions? Okay, hey, Rob, buddy, I appreciate it. Thank you very much for your time and your team you have there with you. Thank you thank you so much for your time, and hopefully in the next week or so, or in local government, a week is really 3 months. So we'll get back to you. I appreciate you guys.
Mr. Day, thank you so much for the opportunity, and I apologize for the voice, but thank you to everybody there, and we certainly appreciate your time.
Okay,
Thank you.
take care.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Pull up that other. Okay, so very interesting. Very interesting. Nobody needs to tell the town of Tazewell or anybody in this room how much a sport complex will do for Tazewell. Omar? Say no more. I mean, that's just as, I mean, you and I ain't got to talk for just a minute, and we can figure it. A sports complex in the town of Tazewell, whether it's indoor or an outdoor facility, would change the economy, not just for the town of Tazewell, but the whole region. Now, let me tell you how this originally started out, and Robin is going to pull up the contract here while I'm talking, but I've got a daughter that plays travel ball, and a couple of years ago, I had the opportunity to go to the Spectrum, Dr. Catherine in Roanoke, and I know you've been there, Omar. I was blown away at the people that were coming through the door, dropping $10 bills and $20 bills and C-notes. I mean, it was crazy. It was absurd. And I was there, of course, to enjoy the fellowship with my daughter and her team, but I found myself sitting back with a manager's hat on and just blown away. And since that time, I don't know how many times I've been back. I've been to Tennessee. I've been to, Raleigh. We played ball all over the place, and I'm just absolutely floored. We went to Radford. And Radford opened up all the high schools, and we went bang, 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 bang all day long. And they scheduled these games to where I've got to eat. So you're not there from 9 o'clock in the morning to 1. You're there from 9 o'clock in the morning to 9 o'clock at night. And they schedule them like that purposely. So they'll play 3 games. Now, Irma, they could have played 3 basketball games in about 4 hours, and I could have been home eat Cheetos on the couch, but it don't work that way. It was just amazing to me to see the opportunity. So the Spectrum's located, you're not walking anywhere to eat, are you, Omar? You're not going to leave the Spectrum and walk nowhere to eat. You're not going to walk nowhere to eat from the Spectrum. If you are walking, you're not getting back for the next game that starts 5 hours from now. All right, it's way out of nowhere. If you go to some of these other complexes that we've been to play ball at, they're out of nowhere. The kids do not care. They don't care where they go. They don't. Well, if it's basketball, they get out the ball. They get out the car, spitting the ball. If it's baseball, they get out the car, throwing the ball. It doesn't, no disrespect, but they don't care if it's in Jenkins Jones. They don't care where it's located at as long as they get to play. I was blown away with that. I was blown away with it. What comes first? A venue or a hotel? Good question. What comes first? Well, I can assure you that a hotel is not going to locate in the desert. But think about that for a while. So if you want to see Tazewell grow, I can't think of one other entity or chain anything that I could do for Tazewell than a sports complex. That's every night of the week. That's every night of the week and every weekend gymnastic competitions. I mean, indoor volleyball. I thought indoor basketball, I thought that was big. They say volleyball's twice as big. I can't imagine that. I've went around the Spectrum, Omar, 3 times trying to find somewhere to park. I mean, it's just unbelievable, the kids that are coming in and out of it. So, and it doesn't matter to me if it's an outdoor facility, if it's an indoor facility, all of them. You know, baseball is incredible what it does for a community. These baseball diamonds, soccer field, it's all amazing if you have the right person to manage it. It's not me. But they're out there to manage it, put it together. People that's got contacts, they're out there. So, I want to talk to you a little bit about PHAST's contract that they sent us, and I want to go through it and answer any questions that you may have. But the overview is just pretty much, I know it's kind of small, I won't get no bigger with it, Robin. I can't hardly see it from here, so I know, I see Rick just now went to sleep. He ain't no need. So you can get it a little bit bigger, but you just heard a little bit about the PHAST group, what they're proposing to do here. It's not a whole lot. You know, their objective is they want to manage, so they're kind of like an engineering or an architectural firm. They're coming to us trying to sell their services. And hopefully you'll see that entity as being the player that needs to be inside the town of Tazewell to complete a project. So, population of health, I'm going to read just a little bit about it. The PHAST is pleased to submit a proposal for services to support town of Tazewell, Virginia design, development, and operation. I don't see nothing about money up there. Amanda, do you? There's nothing up there about bringing in any money. Irma, you see anything about money? I don't see nothing about money. Okay. They're telling you a little bit about their experience of working municipalities in both sports complex development and other related responsibilities. The following experts give a brief. I'm not going to read it. They're telling you a little bit about the project. The objective of the project. The objective, phase 1, is planning. PHAST will complete a comprehensive feasibility study. Yeah, they're going to complete it, but we're going to pay for it. All right, I get that. That's fine. That's fine. So let's pay for it. It's worth, to me, it's worth $27,000. Let's pay for it. Let's keep going. They will provide engineering and architectural consulting firm. Rick, they're the only engineering firm I know that's going to do it free. Do you know? Do you know if anybody else is? No, they're not going to do it. It's not. They're not going to come in here. We are paying for that. PHAST will supervise the construction of the project. Yeah, they're going to do that free too. They're going to supervise it. They're not going to do that free. PHAST they'll work with the vendors and the contractors and help us select. They'll do everything it takes for us to build a facility in the town of Tazewell. And
As long as we're paying for it.
as long as we're paying for it, that's just the truth. That's the truth. So I want everybody to be. All right, so if we can slide on down the planning, they talk about the feasibility study again, the engineer, the architectural work, and the last one, number 3, development, supervise, and construct. They go on down, they mention these things in a different category again. They'll manage and promote. So yeah, when if we build the complex with whoever dollars, it doesn't matter whose dollar it is, but if we build it, yeah, we probably want to look at them as an option to manage. There's no question about it. Maybe we can call them up and let them bid on the management of it. Our proposal is expert. These are the individuals that they have working on their team. The gentleman that we were talking to that had the allergies there, Rob Williams. It tells you a little bit about who he is and what he does. The next one is Dave Gillum, tells you a little bit about who he is. Josh Jones, that other name right there, it tells you a little bit who these people are. And I know that the mayor, Brad Pye, I think Robin, myself, I don't know who else was in the room, but we actually had the opportunity to entertain them here in town hall and kind of listen to this story. Greg Mulkey, actually Greg introduced them to us and kind of got us hooked up with them. When we have Randy Corlo, if you're going down, Michael, these are just different principals and people that work with the company. Keep going. Robin, if you're going down, I'm trying to get to, all right, the first one, the first deliverable, which will take X number of time, contract, final, being a feasibility study. So again, that's the first thing that they're saying that we need to do. And I get that. You know, a hotel, we did a hotel feasibility study, and it came in at 51%. So I understand why we're having a hard time with the hotel. I think there's a lot that we know, such as the hydro plant and the fish farm, which I've heard good stuff today about, but there's a lot we know that they don't know. And so doing those feasibility studies is like taking a snapshot with a Polaroid camera. It's a picture of what's right now. It's not what's, you know, down the road. So anyway, the other deliverables, the planning, the architectural. Number 5 is actually, Rick, this would be of interest to you, but it's kind of what we're asking Shamara to do, or what I'll be going to Richmond next week to talk to Shamara about. Plus a lot of other things to add to that feasibility study. If you're going down, Ron.
Is the cost of Shamara $27,000?
Don't know that yet. I've got a quote from them, but I left a lot off the table that I want to add to it. And it was $20,000.
20?
Yeah, plus. So if we'll keep on going down, these are just milestones. You can see they're not filled in. It's, you know, this contract, that's good, Rob. This contract, Rick, have you ever seen a contract like this put together? All right, again, this is a team of individuals, and you heard them say, got together, they got together, you know, a few years back. So they've got some diversity on their team. But that is not a contract. That right there is some things that they would like to do. I can tell you that I can show you a contract from about any other engineering, architectural, professional firm, and it's got more legal language in it than it does. You know, who's gonna do this if this end don't come? But again, there's that quote, $27,000, and it's got a neat little asterisk right there. So we're gonna go down and look at the asterisk right there. So the asterisk says feasibility study will be partially, I call it an asterisk, that was a star, whatever you want to call it, partially paid by the commission entity of $20,000, with $7,000 being paid by the FAST Center, if selected, to manage a sport complex. The term of the component would be $10,000 at signing feasibility study contract, $5,000 when the preliminary report is presented, and $5,000 or $12,000 if the FAST is not chosen for the. So they'll do $7,000 as long as we hire them to manage it before it's built. That's the way I get that. Or I ain't never gonna get $7,000 out of it. So, okay.
Hey, Tom,
Yes, sir.
could I don't know how many folks in here actually ever heard of Shamara and Associates out of Richmond.
Go ahead.
They're very well recognized by a lot of the funding agencies in the state of Virginia. The General Assembly very well recognizes the work that they've done for the Virginia General Assembly. Their input means a lot to funding agencies. And I think Todd has had some experience with them in the past. They're real thorough. They do a real good job. And I'm kind of like Todd. It may behoove you to have a third party look at this and say, green light, red light, or yellow light. And here's what you need to look at. I tell you what, it's an exciting concept, exciting project. And I think as long as people still have babies in Tazewell, that'll always be busy. Because parents will do and go to the extreme for their babies, and rightfully so. And that tourism and recreation is big in my mind. But I do think that Shamara and Associates is a very recognizable, reputable firm that you can work with.
So let's talk real numbers for a minute. Cancel, IDA, public. Let's talk real numbers. And I've got the budget. This is the present year budget that we're in right now. The upcoming budget is not much different. But under Virginia Constitution, a locality can bond projects. That does not mean that we can pay for them, but we can bond under a formula. Well, that formula under Virginia Constitution is 10% of the locality's real estate value. So I know what we bill out every year, and it's right here in my budget. It's an average of $600,000. That's what we bill out every year. So I know what our tax rate is. It's $2,500. So if you divide the 600,000 by 0.0025, you come up with a pretty big number, and then you get 10% of that, which the Indian Constitution allows us to bond. And that number is about $23,000. I can tell you already.
23 million.
23 million, I'm sorry, yeah, $23 million.
I was like, that's not gonna get you done.
So we're gonna build a basketball court. So it's 23 million. Well, I can tell you now that our bonding power right now is about maximized. We've got about 20, let's just use 23 million. I've got one project out there, Rick knows what that is, it's bonded. So we're really in good shape financially when it comes to bonding power. But Irma, that don't mean I can make the payment. So I also know for a fact that I've got approximately a $10 million expense coming up in the future, real soon, like in the next couple of years, for the sewer treatment plant. I know I do. The sewer treatment plant leaves a lot to be desired. I've done 2.5 years worth of engineering work on it. I'm going to have to do a capital improvement project so that our economic base being, that's right, a sewer treatment plant's in place. Without the sewer treatment plant, you get consent orders from DEQ, you flow here is not good, you're not building over there. You're not building there because you don't have the infrastructure to handle it. So I already know that 10 million's gone. That leaves me with $13 million to do a project. 13 million. But I gotta keep in mind, if something happens at the sewer plant tonight, I may have to call Rick or Anderson and Associates with an emergency phone call, a force account order, and end up calling, our local emergency, and I may spend $3 million overnight. So I've got a fiduciary duty to make recommendations to that governing body that are based on some knowledge, a little bit of experience in local government, and not lead them down a road that could end up, filing bankruptcy like some towns have done. You can't do that in the Commonwealth, but across the United States. Towns and cities in the Commonwealth cannot file bankruptcy because they do have the powers to raise taxes. But when we fall, we fall. We still have to address it one way or the other. So let's take reality. So maybe I can find $7 million. Maybe, David, I could recommend to you guys $7 million. But Dr. Mullins, I still don't know how we're going to make that debt service payment. Have no idea how I'm going to pay for that. I can say build a $7 million facility. That's comfortable. That leaves us 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 on my thing. That leaves us $6 million of bonding power in case something happens in town. And that's not much. That's not much left for a locality that's trying to grow, and it's not much left, so maybe $6 million. Maybe I can crunch the numbers and do $6 million. I don't know. It's a big chance. Something might happen, and I gotta borrow the money. So, to fix it, and no telling what could happen. You know, the town hall may, you know, God forbid, catch on fire, and, you know, the water plant, the sewer plant, it goes on and on and on and on. So $13 million, that's not a lot of ends for a locality that works off of a $5 million budget. It's not much, so I'm kind of getting a little depressed thinking about that, but I've been thinking about it for a year. So we stepped up, how many months ago, Emily, 3 months ago, and bought the Rainy lot? Nancy, you were on the IDA, 6 months ago? He said, let's just split the difference. He said, Mr. Reed, were you on that? No, she's like, I ain't got nothing to do with that. But we paid $300,000 we paid $350,000, how much we, $350,000 for a tax appraisal that came in at 1.6. 1.1, so 1.16, so that's not bad. I've got a little equity in that lot. I've got a little equity, and I can tell you that the real estate on the ground is worth more than the real estate in the building. And any of y'all, all y'all have been through it, you know that. So I've got a little equity there. But what if I can say, Irma, your restaurant, if we build this every night of the week, you're going to pay more meals tax because you're going to have more business in town. All right? That's the truth. And Sharina's Wings is going to pay more meals tax. And Bliss on Main is going to do more business. And the brewery is going to do more business. All of our businesses here in town are going to pay more taxes because you're going to be doing more business. So what's that help me do? Now, don't bring up potholes. All right. So somebody told me the other day, we were fixing potholes with it to start with. Well, I get that. All right. But yeah, that's exactly right. So now you have given the locality the ability to have a return on investment. You know, do more paving, pave more street. 6 years ago, you could look at a police cruiser went up the road and 3 out of the 4 tires were flat. And the ones that were parked here were on jacks. Y'all remember that? Watch out now.
I thought the meals tax went to the Y. Will this be any way in competition with the Y?
The meals tax has never went to the Y. Ever. Ever. That's cigarette tax. Meals tax has never went to the Y. But I'm just giving an example because it's B-pole, your real estate values go up. So, you know, every night of the week they're playing volleyball all morning, they're playing basketball. The weekend there's wrestling, there's indoor soccer, it's year round. These parents are coming, they eat, they got to shop, oh man, it's so big. I get chill bumps just thinking about what it is.
You think they'll come during the week? I mean, I'm just asking questions. Do you think people will come during the week, or will it be a weekend thing?
That's an excellent question. So again, the money is an issue with me as manager. It's an issue with me. And that's what I get paid to do, is look at that and try to steer in the right direction. A feasibility study is going to answer that. A feasibility study is going to answer that question. So we do a feasibility study and we say, okay, Shamara, we want you to do a feasibility study and we want you to tell us how many square feet, how many basketball courts, how many baseball fields, how many, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And also, I want you to tell me, Shamara, how it's going to increase the attractiveness for a hotel to come to Tazewell on its own without being subsidized by the local government. So let's talk about it for a minute. The hotel, the last 2 deals that we've been in, the locality was spending $2 million. $2 million. The locality was going to spend that. Deep down, I thank God bless the town of Tazewell.
So how much would you be spending on the sports center? More or less?
Don't know that yet, till the feasibility study doing. But what will the feasibility study do, Rick? It'll show the return on investment. It'll show the return on investment. I've got, how many letters, Robin? 5. I've got 5 letters sitting right there on my desk that came in this week. I guarantee you the next month, I'll have the other 15 from localities all across Giles, Grayson. They're saying, build it, build it. We will come, we will be there.
You go in debt for it, is that it?
I'll tell you what we can do.
I mean, I'm just,
I'll tell you what we can do. We can just all sit down. And we can just sit back on the wall and just do nothing.
Hey, Todd,
We can do that
And not get nothing.
let me
and not
ask you,
get nothing.
let me ask you this. What if you take and look at, and it may take Brad to answer this question, but look at a regional concept. You and other towns and maybe another county or somebody may want to be a regional approach with this and a revenue sharing type agreement.
That's wonderful, and we've talked about that. That's a great idea, but still, the feasibility study's got
It's got to show, you're right.
feasibility study's got to show.
Regardless.
So when I go to a bank, Irma, when I go to a bank, they're gonna say, have you done a feasibility study?
Yeah.
When I go to the bank, they're gonna say, well, it looks like to me you need to borrow $7 million, but in 3 years, you can actually make the debt service payment off the return on investment.
There you go.
Wow, wow. That's a pretty good deal. That's a pretty good deal. So now I get to go to my bond council and release some of that bonding power, have it returned back to the town, and yeah. So that's the only route that I know to go in. The objective of having the meeting tonight is to be sure that all the investors that are in here know what it's going toward. I'm going to encourage council and the IDA to not do this.
I have a question.
Yes,
Well, first off, how do you spell Shamara?
that's a,
CHMURA.
CHMURA.
yeah,
Okay.
it's an
What do
economic.
we know about the FAST group?
Well,
That's,
they were here before you.
okay. Well, because I just looked them up, because their address, their main office is in Tennessee, is that right?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay, because I just looked at the Secretary of State for Tennessee, and they just formed last year.
Yeah, that's what, a couple of years ago, they admitted, I mean, they said that.
Yeah.
So it's a brand new entity, they don't own nothing, they just manage. That's right, you're correct.
So
And they
that's-
alluded to it earlier.
Yeah, that's a little scary.
Yeah.
So I don't know if anyone else heard your
suggestion and opinion to not
Work with them, I heard you loud and clear.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
There
yeah,
are
the
other
Shamir is the next
companies
step.
that do that type of sports complex management.
there's a bunch of them.
Shamir is the next step, and then who else is after that?
Well,
Who else? That's how I feel.
Again, they have a place at some time, but for Tazewell, you know, what they're wanting to do, what the PHAST group is wanting to do is, and you can tell their youth, because we don't have $30 million of bonding power. I can't bond it. If the feasibility study said build it and they will come, I still can't build it. So I don't know, when the fundraising campaign was going on, I don't know what was communicated out there. I have no idea. I don't know. I wasn't eating on, I don't know what was said, but it's being recorded. Everybody's heard it, and I'm still real concerned because there's some investors here, but there's a lot that are not here tonight that were invited, and I hate that. So my recommendation, and I want to hear from the council, but my recommendation to the town council, because we need that feasibility study, is to have a feasibility study done. We'll break up with them, give them their ring back and all that, send them down the road, and tell them thank you. But we'll still do a feasibility study. My concern is the people, the individuals that invested, knowing that and knowing what you saw tonight, do you still want those dollars spent for that, or would you like to do something reasonable and still donate to it? So I don't know if I'm getting that out clear or not. So I really don't know what was communicated.
Well, it was my understanding that the money that was contributed would go toward a feasibility study.
Correct.
That was my understanding.
Not necessarily this feasibility study.
The feasibility study for the sports complex.
Right.
So it doesn't necessarily have to say that it's too
No,
fast.
it didn't have to Shamar, whatever that company. Yes.
What was your?
Well, I agree with what you're saying, and we would have to do a feasibility study. But as you're talking about, you know, you got a piece of property, you got some equity there, you got some different things going on. But I think it's like a baby. Baby falls out of the womb, it's got to crawl, then it's got to walk, and then it runs.
That's right.
And have we done everything that we can do as the town? I think there's some things that we can do without spending the first dollar.
A lot. That's correct.
Now, ultimately, we're going to have to do a feasibility study to figure out, you know, what's going to be needed and what's possible. But have we done the research to see if there's something we can do on a small scale to maybe start going from crawling to maybe
Well,
walking?
that's a good question.
And because I don't think you have to necessarily spend $30 million to accomplish the idea that you're talking about.
No, we don't have.
I mean, I will say this. I went to a facility and I was wowed by the same thing. And this facility, they had minimal heat. This was in February. They had a building, they had spent, and it's probably thousands of dollars, maybe. But this building was packed out. Mind you, we're sitting here tonight in this meeting in a comfortable chair. You brought your own chair. And you wore a coat inside the building because it was cold. But there was hundreds of people, and when you walk through the door, your fee is $5 because you're going to watch. And little Susie's going to pay $10 because she's using the facility. So you can do things like that will still bring revenue to the town. And I think something like that, we can there's no people in this room that can figure that out
So again,
without doing any feasibility study, but ultimately, to get to where you need to be, you're gonna have to do this stuff.
so again,
Also-
we're gonna tell Facet, thank you very much, but not right now. Maybe we can date later on, but not right now. And again, we're gonna do a feasibility study, and the feasibility study is still gonna recognize outdoor fields, it's still gonna recognize indoor facilities. Keep in mind, we've got one location, which we originally bought it for. So we're ahead of the game a little bit. So no, we're not going to do a $30 million project. I don't have that kind of money. The town does.
I think your feasibility study will tell you how much you can afford to be.
That's right. That's exactly what it'll do. It'll tell you how big, it'll tell you how many, and with my input on the budget, it'll tell us everything we need to know. My question again is I want to be sure that everybody that donated funds to the project is okay with using those funds to do a feasibility study without the FAST group being in the picture. I can't do what the FAST group wants to do. I can't. So,
You have my vote for yes.
thank you.
You have one?
Okay. Anybody else have any questions? Does anybody have any other questions about the route that we're looking to go in? I'm seriously, I'm gonna be making some phone calls tomorrow. I'm gonna make a lot of phone calls. And I really wish they'd been here tonight. Anyway, I know that work and you know, things get in the way. So,
If it gives you any ease, I just spoke this partnership. I don't think it's about who was conducting the study. It was just that it was getting done.
I like it. I like it. See, I just don't know what was out there. I don't know what was being, and,
But now, since we've seen their presentation and we see the situation, now it is kind of like,
yeah.
we need to find out who
Yeah,
and know.
and you know our finances, you know I don't have the $20 billion in bonding power, you know the 10 million's gone, so I can't do it.
Now you got shot.
Now I got a shop, then I
Right,
got,
who else?
yeah, now I gotta go looking, so, does anybody
When the
have?
feasibility study is done, will there be another meeting to?
Sure, absolutely, I wanna have, I wanna be as transparent as I can. I wanna be, and, you know, again, I don't care if that feasibility study comes back and says you cannot build an indoor facility. And all it says is you need to build 6 soccer fields that you can play baseball, ball down. We're gonna go after that. We're gonna do everything we can to make Tazewell a destination for people to come. That's how you're gonna get that hotel.
On
That's,
average, how long does these studies normally take?
it's gonna be about 3 months. It's gonna take some time.
Is there a certain regulation or radius on who can do the study?
As we were speaking earlier, there's a big benefit in being that it's public dollars. I'm getting away from a whole lot of procurement, local government procurement, because I'm actually using individual dollars versus tax dollars. But Shamara, that company is well recognized across the Commonwealth and in Richmond. They are absolutely, by far, the best entity to have do that study.
I guess my next question is, are you wanting to look for another option outside of them, or is that just your next go-to?
You know, with what I know, and Rick can chime in, with what I know and the homework I've done the last 20, I'm telling you, they are the premier.
So that's the final stop.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shamara?
I do have one question. I'm
Sure.
not familiar at all with this process, but should we need to go outside of the area to secure funds?
Right.
Are they recognizable in other areas
Oh, yeah.
other than?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, they are
The state
very,
of Virginia uses them a lot to maintain the AAA bond rating.
yeah, they are,
Virginia Resources
recognized. They are the Cadillac of the industry.
Well, and according to the State Corporation Commission, they've been in existence since 1998.
Yeah. They're the real deal. They carry a lot of weight. Matter of fact, there's been, I know of 2 studies in Tazewell. One was done, 3 months ago? Back in Dragon just got through doing one, the Shamara did actually. And it was recommended by a legislator. So, any other questions? Thank y'all for coming out.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming out, and thank you for the dedication and donations that were made. I appreciate it. If you got any questions?
My city.